And I won't stay for long,
Mm.
unfortunately.
Uh-oh.
I will
Be nice.
I will I have to go soon,
Being
but I'm glad
recorded.
that I get the chance to hear the rest of the story.
Okay. So, all right. So by Florida law, because we still have states where most of the laws exist here in our federal system, we were supposed to get 45-day notice of any rate increases and something like 30-day notice for some other, if there's a change.
Yeah.
But the way that they worked it with the dragging of the feet and the final passage of the Affordable Care Act back in, I believe it was 2010 or 2011, it would have been late 2010. It was right around the time where we had to elect to, with the company, to go this route or that route with our Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Florida, which is sort of a federated company in and of itself, because every state has its own version of Blue Cross Blue Shield.
What are these insurance companies or something?
Yes, they call it insurance, but it's really health funding. You pay them, and then they're supposed to cover the costs. Well, what we were doing was they announced that they were going to increase our rate to help cover the Affordable Care Act with things like the where you can't drop anyone. They were increasing it by 85% of the premium.
Whoa.
Right. And instead of them following law and giving us the 45 days notice to figure it out, we had exactly 9 days to figure this out.
Wow.
So they'll break the law if it advantages them.
Yeah.
And that was just the situation. We did that, and then I stuck with the company, and then the child was born, and then I was so frazzled after a week after he was born because of some other factors. I also had to leave, or I was called into the office because they were kind of concerned about my performance because, of course, newborn baby, other issues going on in the home and whatnot. I said, you know what, let me take care of my own house. I'm just going to resign. And I left. I left that company. Meanwhile, I later come to find when we have our next child, after I'm working at the next corporation that I'm with, what happens, I find out when I go from being a contract to they want to hire me as a full-time employee, they happen to also be Blue Cross Blue Shield of Florida. And then I find out, because I'm going to the midwife appointments, take my wife there, that they do not have, they never actually paid. The company never paid our midwife.
Wow.
To have a hospital birth, it's like $10,000-$11,000. To go a midwife, it's $4,000 to $5,000.
$10,000 or $11,000. That's insane.
For a hospital birth is what they say if you're
so
paying out of pocket. Well, so much of it is it's an industry with a set of people who have that function in the society privatized and are able to extract wealth from this. It's like if you remember the Pearl.
Which is the wrong way to start. You know, it should start with like, okay, how do we help people's health?
Right. Yeah,
and I think that's why being a government-run thing makes so much more sense. You just give people salaries. They don't get more money for giving, cutting people up more. They don't get more money for making more people addicted to pain meds. They just get a salary, and hopefully a good salary.
Yeah, and socialism has its drawbacks too, because in the other, innovation is what marks the United States of America, because so many different ideas come about here by way of the freedoms that we have here.
In the medical field, you mean? Or?
Right. Now, socialism has the problem in that it tends to limit freedoms, and when you start putting limits of freedoms, or you start deciding things are settled, it's like it's kind of like the difference between England and the United States during the Industrial Revolution. England made these machines that would last 100 years, like a pump so that you can dig down, and a water pump would draw the water out. And that was neat and great and whatever. The United States made proliferations and multiple iterations of machines, and it's what allowed us to pull ahead in the Industrial Revolution, because from an ecological, from a capital expenditure, from a long-term perspective, England's methodology makes a lot more sense, because you're putting it into durable capital goods that last a long time and don't require that much resources in comparison to the United States model, which is this free for all and all these different people. But then we raced out ahead.
But if the slower method is better, you specifically mentioned better ecologically.
Yes.
Then,
but not necessarily.
Speeding ahead would see. Well, yeah, not necessarily. But it was interesting that you did specify that. But if we're to take that as a given, which I think in some ways it is, then the steaming ahead, so to speak, steam power, I guess, was a big part of it, is not necessarily a good idea, you know, because I mean, technological advancement from one perspective looks wonderful, but we have created a mass extinction event, and we're possibly going to destroy the entire biosphere. So there are definite drawbacks to rapid progress.
All right, so the air was a lot dirtier during the
Industrial Revolution,
coal-based Industrial Revolution, and
but dirtier from which perspective? Or I say the perspective of which species?
Okay, well, there's a whole species of owl that adapted because of the amount of coal ash being put into the air.
There were moths as well. You know that story about the dark and light colored moths? Yeah.
So,
but what I mean is, okay, and this comes in when people talk about air pollution, like from cars, for example. I mean, what the humans are concerned about is, is it bad for humans? And yeah, okay, so we in these urban centers or along highways, certain people are getting sick from certain pollutants. So then we care a lot about
they're basically living in sacrifice zones.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that that's not a valid complaint, but if we say, okay, yeah, so cities have smog and, you know, people around heavy roads have a problem, and so we call that air like dirty or bad. But then if we look from the global perspective, we look at the planet, then I would say the air that we should be more concerned about is the air that causes the more damage to the biosphere as a whole. You see what I mean? So definitely the smog and everything was a problem, but in terms of CO2 levels and methane levels, yeah.
I understand, and I've actually written on all this, and I'd love to share with you more, but I've got a couple of things to take care of. So let's let Jairo and Dominic maybe talk for a while, and I'll be back.
Sure, I maybe catch you another time, but I hadn't planned to stay long, and I got a fair bit of work on some notation to do. But good to catch up with you guys. So maybe see you next time.
Thank you very much for sharing with us, Justin.
You're welcome. Thanks, Jairo, and nice to hear you, Dominic, as well. So and hopefully I can catch you guys when Lewis is here, so that I can do the thing I was wanting to do all that time ago. Maybe next time I can be more coordinated.
Yes, we had a good conversation with Luis in the morning, and we got into tangible and intangible. And Mike Taylor, the mathematician, told him that you have to work on your communication skills.
Hopefully I can get back. Hopefully I can catch him.
Yes, next. Okay, bye. Hopefully you can come a little earlier to catch Luis and show him you wanted to show him.
Yeah, I will try. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. And so we're back with Dominic and Rami. Dominic just came in. So what do you think, Rami? What do you think, Dominic? What have we learned so far?
I guess I'll catch you in recording, but I understand Justin had to leave for the day. Is that true? Or will he be coming back?
He had to leave.
Okay. We can share the recording.
Oh, I found Alan Gaynor on Facebook. There's the link.
And I have something else to share from Facebook. Can we talk for a little bit about the event that we had on Monday? Go to Heller.
Yeah.
Have you taken a look at the 3 photos that I posted there and what I listed in the notes and the descriptions of those photos? Feel free to share your screen of that.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see. That would be under past events. Did we have? Yeah. Well, my resources are low, or internet, both. I have wireless stream. Let's see. Events past. It's circling. It's loading. Go to Heller. So what's Heller's proposition or proposes or theme is that we are Heller is a anti-climax. No, anti-climate. Yes. Anti-climate kind of person. Or he's proposing that that this climate change thing is a bit off, and he's trying to give his reasonings, but the mainstream media and social media won't let him. Is that something like that? There it is. Go to Heller. Oh, so are you going to publish another Go to Heller event? Go to Heller 2. The last one was attended by Rami and Jairo.
And yourself, yeah, and you were at the store at the Costco picking up stuff, and then you drove home to bring the stuff to you. And I had asked what you thought about the CO2 expenditure at the time too, even.
I think I just watched a little bit of the YouTube
the original video.
The interview.
Scroll down and click on the video or on the pictures, the 4 pictures that I shared while I get my wife. I'll be back, and be sure to read the comments that I put in the description, and then for the second 2, there's additional links. And you helped me get here, by the way, through your own words during our initial Monday meeting.
Note, the YouTube critic is using a clear non-Tony Heller account. Oh, someone is faking Heller? Maybe? The YouTube critic is using a clear non-Tony Heller account. Someone named Steve S. Goddard, utilizing Tony's Twitter pic to represent Tony, and Scott Adams, Dilbert, responding to this guy as if Scott is supposed to be responding to Tony. Steve Goddard is chatting with Scott Adams. Maybe I'm providing Scott Adams says with lots of valuable information about climate. Unfortunately, he isn't taking advantage of it. Scott Amos says, that's because you lost all credibility by imagining nefarious intentions where there is nothing like that in evidence. The ClimateGate emails that you believe prove intentions are you lost me entirely. How Tony Heller fools his audience. There are numerous techniques political strategists and campaigners have been using, including creating an artificial fear of what the other side will do to you, using quotes and information out of context, and generally playing to human psychology in a way to manipulate you without you even noticing. That. And okay, now I'm going to the next picture. This one. Oh. And yet Tony is in his own Do the Right Thing video utilizes the same Steve Goddard name as himself.
And be sure to go ahead and scroll down and read the comments.
Oh. See, Tony Heller, aka StephenGoddard.com, or the prior page, StephenGoddard.wordpress.com. Who is Stephen Goddard?
You can check those out a little bit later. Let's go right to the third picture.
Steve Goddard. Steve Goddard. That's on Twitter. The most amazing thing. Steve Goddard is a writer, music trailblazer, ninja, Bible enthusiast, incurable web scholar, travel maven, freelance Twitter nerd, prone to fits of apathy. When one looks up this Steve Goddard account on Twitter, a dubiously described profile shows up. Dubiously described profile shows up. Is this the dubiously described profile? Okay, the only thing I know of at this time in common between Tony Heller and his supposed online critic Malin Baker is this fake looking Twitter account, which is utilized in both their videos. Is this the case? Tony Heller, aka StephenGoddard.com. Who is Tony Heller? We will have to investigate this.
Still not woken up in the same way this weird.
This Twitter account that says Steve Goddard not be the real Steve Goddard. Could it be a fake account?
Have a good bike ride.
Yes.
Are you?
Try not to make too much noise. I won't.
I noticed you're taking a bag.
That's right. I'm taking a bag.
So which way?
You know what my dad used to say?
Which way are you headed?
When they asked
Or
him
which
about
way do you-
cubic, do you want a bag? No, I got one at home.
Which one do you plan on heading to?
It doesn't. I got my bracelet.
Which?
Pamphlet.
Oh.
I won't
Just say,
get
Mom,
lost.
are you going towards Cimarron, or are you going to Goldenrod?
Maybe I'll take a
Okay. The copy's growing. Okay.
No, can you not do that right now, please? No.
Screen capture. Oh. Let's see. Oh. Which one should I select? Video frame, video container, video layout. Let's try this one. Remove this one. No. Let's try this one. I'm video container. Should be that one. Oh, yes. Oh, there's Rami and there. Let's see. Let's remove. Let's add another source. Screen capture, window capture.
I don't know what
Layout.
motivates a man like Tony Heller to do all this sort of stuff. I have to imagine it's something neurological, or it's something that's done for the purpose of amusement, or maybe it's as stated, because he's rather mild-mannered, at least in his Tony Heller YouTube channel. And I've been listening to him since, I guess, 2019, and then started poking in, and I see that he's not actually, he would, I would say, be the one who breaks through a lot of reality. In other words, he's already been a lot more effective in the mission that I think Luis has claimed to be on, because he's developed a following on a set of people who believe him on the one hand and haven't been to these websites, the Tony Heller, aka StephenGoddard.com, and who is Tony Heller, and the player, all this other stuff. It's quite an interesting study. I'm not even absolutely certain that this site, Tony Heller, aka Stephen Goddard, I would not believe that it was even, I wouldn't believe that I would have cause to doubt that it was even from Tony, except for the fact that the writing style is also in his speaking style in his YouTube channel. And the fact that Tony, in his own video, said "I," and then showed a picture of Stephen Goddard talking with Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert. So this does seem to be legitimately coming from Stephen Goddard, from Tony Heller, this character Stephen Goddard. And I'm wondering, to what degree is this other guy his critic? Maybe is in on the process. Like, are they buddies, and are they doing this as part of a sort of a deception scheme? I don't want to say much more beyond that. But I did provide a link to us in the chat area. That was an article that I wrote a while back that addresses CO2 and methane releases.
So let me get this straight. There's this climate change denier, Tony Heller, who has a pen name, Stephen Goddard, and has a Twitter handle, Steve S. Goddard. And he developed a following, and now he's exposing himself. Is he saying that he was just kidding, that he's not really a climate denier? He developed a following by being a climate denier, and is that what this is? So let me get this straight. Who is Tony Heller? So he goes by the name Stephen Goddard.
And Tony Heller also. He's got more than one Twitter account.
On Twitter?
Yeah, I think his primary is Tony__Heller. But then he also operates out of these, at least in his videos, he shows himself operating under this pen name at Stephen S. Goddard on Twitter.
He has a blog, and where does he put videos? I guess he has to put them on BitChute now.
No, he still has access to YouTube.
And he puts them on YouTube.
Yeah, you can probably find him on the other video sharing sites though.
And he has had a gathering, and he's being a over-the-top climate denying troll, or a climate denier. But now he's exposing himself, that he was just, is he saying that I was just kidding, I'm not really a climate denier?
He has been exposing himself. You go back to the StephenGoddard.wordpress.com. Back in 2016, he says he's moving over to this Tony Heller, aka StephenGoddard.com. So I promote it. I only somehow came across one of his YouTube videos and then started and continued to listen. But he's so dang effective. It's kind of like he's kind of like Stephen Colbert was when he was on Comedy Central. The Colbert Report, where he played the character and he played it so well that you made him, you could love him. Even if you were from the left, you could love him because he is, of course, either neutral or center left, like a lot of America has been in the 20th century. And perhaps some right. A lot of the problem is that to such a degree, there's this reinforced a false left-right paradigm that really doesn't fit. It's just a dividing paradigm to keep the country split. I'll be right back.
Mm. So he's been effective in generating a divide. Maybe, or I'd have to watch him on somewhere on YouTube. Maybe I can find him on YouTube. Let's see. Maybe I could find him on YouTube. Let's see. I claim to be able to drive 250,000 visitors to my site every week. And I have received over 20 million page views as of November 14. The man has. So on June 27, 2014, I revealed my true identity, Tony Heller. My next big break was my speaking gig at Heartland Institute Climate Denier Conference. Since that time, hundreds of embarrassingly bad blogs, posts that would torpedo any real scientist's career, hasn't put a dent on my career as a professional denier. Wow, he gets paid to deny climate change. For example, there was a time I confused sea ice with glacier ice on my blog and had to erase all evidence of my post when I got called out on it. Despite my buffoonery, things have actually been going swimmingly because fake news has become indistinguishable from real news in the minds of many, and because scientific knowledge has been overwhelmed with nonsense, it makes it possible for someone like me to have real influence. Oh my gosh. Wow. My blog charts have been cited by the likes of United States Senator Ted Cruz, and I even appeared and spoke alongside Australian Senator Malcolm Roberts at his press conference in 2016. I'm also now frequently quoted as a climate authority by right-wing propaganda outlets like Climate Depot and Breitbart. So I'm looking forward to continuing my work and building up my reputation as an unapologetic sociopath and fighting the climate jihadists with juvenile insults. I am a rabid partisan and my work is an extension of my extreme right-wing ideology. Do I feel shame deceiving readers with unsubstantiated conspiracy theories, half-truths, and ceaseless cherry-picking? Nope. In fact, I view all progressives as the enemy, and I will gladly say next to anything if I think it will undermine them. And I certainly have no issue with doing all this work for money, so please donate today. Okay.
And he gets donations through the other site that others probably haven't been introduced to, realclimatescience.com.
Oh, wow.
So he's making a living out of this by basically speaking both sides. Never miss an opportunity. to make $1, I guess. Or to have a claim on other people's attention or have influence. But I want to draw your attention to the second to last sentence in that. If we could scroll back up just a bit. He says, in fact, I view all progressives as the enemy, and I will gladly say anything if I think it will undermine them. All right. Now, what is meant by gladly say anything? And also, for me, the key there is undermine them, because I think at times in his videos that he posts, not always, but at times, he's touching on areas in his videos that may be valid arguments that are counterclaims. Not all, but some. However, because he's so effective here and because he outs himself here, I think what he does is delegitimize the whole actual debate of climate science. What he is proving, however, is the gullibility and the ability to shape people's swaths of people's perceptions of it. So he's a perception peddler, okay, and he's got followings now on both ends, both on realclimatescience.com from the right and now also from the left, because folks on the left can utilize his work and say, see, all your arguments, you who doubt that increased CO2 levels, for instance, are a bad thing, they're invalid because look at this guy. He's made them all and he's clearly spouting BS. Therefore, all those arguments have no validity. So it serves the purpose of keeping groups divided. It kind of makes fun of, because if you look at Stephen S. Goddard, the description, it's kind of dubious. Like when I read the description of what he placed and the background picture that it shows, I think he was kind of making fun of a certain set of believers. And yeah, a real work. Yeah, real piece of work. Look how he describes this fictional pen name guy who supposedly is supposed to be. Go ahead.
This one right there?
Yes, that's the one.
Writer, music, trailblazer, ninja, Bible enthusiast, incurable, web scholar, travel maven, freelance Twitter nerd, prone to fits of apathy.
At any rate, I don't think I want to say much more, but I did. Does he also talk about chemtrails? I have not necessarily seen that video, but it's interesting because there's the issue in the debate, and then there's the shaping of the perceptions of the issues in the debate. I would put Tony up there as a first-rate priest of shadow casting, to borrow from Plato's analogy of the cave. Meanwhile, I go ahead.
What would Jesus do?
Well, I think in many ways Jesus was a he would debunk the situation and speak the truth. He would cut through the BS and speak what is, because he didn't waste time. He didn't waste time. He didn't waste energy.
He was under pain. Was he under pain?
No, I'm talking about during his 3-year ministry, which most of the Gospels focus upon. Read
So
for instance. Yeah, go ahead.
If we could create a device that would send us back in time and could
we have that device, by the way. It's called our imagination.
Okay, so we could use our imagination and go back in time and invite Jesus to have a conversation, a friendly conversation with the Buddha. And we could maybe bring him to our time, and we could invite people to watch their conversation.
Well, assuming they don't kill the Buddha and crucify the Christ. Those are one-time events.
Maybe we could call it the Great Debate.
But Buddhists have been killed throughout time, as have Christians.
Great. No, it wouldn't be a debate, or it could end up being a debate. With the great meeting of minds. And we could have a facilitator. We could have Rami facilitating the meeting. And so to start it off, we could say you have 5 minutes to talk, and then the other person has 5 minutes to talk, and then rebuttals, kind of like a debate, or we could just have it free-flowing, or like a informal.
I don't.
How would you run?
I'm not going to worry about this until I'm out of this mortal coil, Hyro, because I've got more than enough on my plate today. But I'm sorry. At least the facilitation part. You have a original point here with regard to how do we relate a Christ perspective versus a Buddhist perspective, or in dialogue with a Buddhist perspective, I think is what you're trying to get at.
Or just a we could have it on Zoom also, and we could schedule it for 7 in the morning. Invite Jesus and the Buddha.
Okay, well, and let's play these roles for just a moment. I'll be, for instance, I'll be Jesus with skin on, and you be an incarnation of the Buddha, Hyro. And Dominic is the observer of this conversation. So we can just have the conversation. We don't have to necessarily. Of course, this is Rami.
We could use
and Hyro's.
We use method acting. We could use method acting.
Let's just be ourselves. Let's just you and I have a direct conversation, ask questions, and come up with answers for one another here for a little bit. But also at the same time, let's appreciate this is for a limited amount of time. This is going to be flavored by our own experiences and perceptions. You know what? A friend of mine, I'm going to invite him in here, and I hope it's going to go okay. Let me invite my friend to come join us. Yes. An example. Grab the go back to me, and where's the come on computer?
Stop sharing. There's
a leaky capacitor here. Oh, I know. I can just type it in directly. US.
How would those former beings handle humanity, ignorance, and/or many attachments we have at present? Thanks for the link, Domenico. Less than 1 minute. Upgrade to Pro. I see.
Okay, great questions. Domenico asked, how would those former beings handle? So Dominic asks us, Domenico has asked us, how would those former beings handle humanity, I guess humanity's ignorance and/or many attachment that we have at present? Well, Christ, well, by example, they've already provided us the